Now, this next skill requires you understand skill 10, proving triangles congruent. Because CPCTC is the other part of triangle congruence that we have to be able to use after using the triangle law from skill 10. So right here, we're asked to prove that angle A is congruent to angle Y. Now, those aren't marked up, and I don't know any previous learning that lets me say that. So if we can say that these two triangles are congruent, then we can say all the little parts of the triangle are also congruent, or corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So let's see if we can use one of our math laws to prove the triangles are congruent, and then we can say all the little parts are also congruent. So I'm going to build my statement reason table, and with every statement reason table, I'm going to list out my given information. I see this side right here has two little tick marks, and this side right here also has two little tick marks. So I know they're congruent. So AC is congruent to XY, and that was given because of the mark on the shape. I see this side here has three little tick marks, and so does this side here as well. So BC is congruent to XZ. Once again, that was given. Now we need three pieces of math law in order to prove that two triangles are congruent. And that's what I see here. We have one little angle marked right there. So I see that angle C is congruent to angle X. And once again, that was given. All three pieces of evidence in this problem were given to you. Now we can ask ourselves, do we have enough info to use math law? See, we have a side, an angle, and a side, an angle, and a side. And the angle I know about is in between the two sides I know about. So we can use SAS law, side, angle, side, to prove the triangles are congruent. Let's name the first one. Triangle ABC. So I went down the side with no mark and down the orange side. Will have to be congruent to YZX. YZX. And now that we've proved that both triangles are congruent, now we can prove that the little parts are also congruent. So I can say that angle Y is, angle A is congruent to angle Y. And the reason I know that is because the corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. That's a lot to write. So we're just going to use CPCTC, and we're done.
Okay, so just like Mr. Bakke said in the last part of the video, this time we're proving something a little bit different. We're asked to prove that angle 1 and angle 2 are the same instead of the triangle proofs that we're used to doing. Okay, so first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to prove that the triangles are the same. Okay, and if we know that the triangles are the same, then we know that the parts of the triangles are the same too. That's what CPCTC tells us. So let's start with what we're given. This thing tells us that BC and DC are congruent. So when I look up at my shape, here's BC, I'm going to mark it with two little tick marks, and DC down here, also I'm going to give two tick marks too. Those two sides are congruent. We're given that information right down here. So same thing as before, we're going to make a statement reason table. Our first statement is going to be that BC is congruent with DC. Right? It gave us that information right here. That's given. Okay. Let's take a look now at our other piece of given information. It tells us that AB and AD are the same. So I'm going to mark that one with 3 tick marks. Okay. I know that AB and AD are the same. And again, I was given that information, right? I just took this and I wrote it straight into my table. All right? And to prove these triangles are the same, I need 3 things. I've only got 2. So I need to take a peek at what else this problem is giving me. Oops. Okay, and that other piece of information on this drawing is a shared side. Right here in the middle, the top triangle has that pink side, and the bottom triangle uses that same exact side. So I can say that AC and AC are congruent because they're the same side, right? They're a shared side. Pardon my S. Okay? So So now we have three pieces of information. It's side, side, side. So I can say that these two triangles are congruent. So we can say SSS, right? I've got side, side, and another side. So I can say that they're congruent because of side, side, side. So let's just name them. I'm going to say triangle ABC is congruent. And when I named ABC, I went up the side with 3, down the side with 2. So I'm going to go up the side with 3, down the side with 2. This one's going to be ADC. Okay, so now I know that these triangles are the same. So I'm done, right? Not quite, right? Because we need to remember what we were asked to prove in the first place. And that was that angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent. So here's angle 1, and here's angle 2. I've already proved that the triangles are the same, and if those are the same triangles, they have to have the same parts. So I can say angle 1 is congruent with angle 2, and my reason is going to be because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, CPCTC.